You didn't survive the Ice Age. You didn't outrun the saber-toothed tiger. You didn't fight off starvation, disease, or extinction. But someone like you did. And not just once. Over and over. For 300,000 years, while every other human species, Homo, erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo floresiensis, vanished into dust. You survived. Not because you were the strongest, not because you were the fastest, but because you did. Something no other species on Earth has ever done at scale. You turned weakness into strength, fear into fire, loneliness into language. This isn't just evolution. This is the greatest survival story in human history. And you're not just watching it, you're living it, right? And with every breath, every heartbeat, every irrational fear that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. because your body, it's still running on code, written in the snow, blood, and silence of a world that should have killed us all. So how did we make it? How did a hairless, slow, fragile primate survive 6 ice ages, volcanic winters, famines, plagues, and wars? Not by luck, not by strength, but by rewriting the rules of survival itself. Let's talk about the real reason you can't sleep unless the door is locked. Why you feel safer in a group. Even if you don't know the people, why you still flinch at a loud noise like your brain expects a predator. This isn't anxiety. This is ancient survival software, still running, still protecting you, still keeping you alive. So Dash, what if the story of human survival isn't about strength, but about the one species that learned to cheat death not with claws, but with connection? The species that shouldn't have made it, let's be honest. We were never supposed to survive, compared to other animals. Humans are terrible at surviving. We can't run fast. We can't climb well. We're not strong. We're not camouflaged. Our babies are born helpless, able to walk, feed, or defend themselves for years. And yet, here we are, on the moon, in cities of glass, streaming this video on devices more powerful than the computers that sent men to space. How? Because we didn't win by being better animals. We won by inventing a new way to survive. While other species evolved bodies to survive, we evolved minds, and then we shared them. That's the first secret of our survival. We didn't survive as individuals, we survived as a network. Anthropologists call it the collective brain. One person invents fire, another improves it, another teaches it to their children, and suddenly knowledge accumulates. No. Other species does this. A chimp might learn to crack nuts with a rock, but it dies with him. No one else learns. No one improves it but humans. We pass it on. And that changed everything. Imagine one tribe discovers how to make fire, another learns how to weave clothes, a third figures out how to trap animals. They trade, they merge, they survive. But here's the dark truth. This only worked if everyone stayed loyal, because if one person lied, stole, or betrayed the group, the whole network could collapse. And in the Ice Age, collapse meant death. So the brain evolved a failsafe. Make us care, deeply, painfully, obsessively. That's why you feel guilt, why you fear rejection, why you need to belong. Because 50,000 years ago, being kicked out of the tribe wasn't just sad, it was a death sentence. So ask yourself, when you lie awake at night worrying about what someone thinks of you, are you being insecure? Or is your brain still screaming, if you're rejected, you die? The Ice Age that never ended, you think winter is cold? Try minus 50 degrees Celsius for 90,000 years. That was the last glacial period of time when ice sheets covered Europe, North America, and Asia. World was a frozen wasteland. Food was scarce, shelter was life or death, and yet humans didn't just survive, we expanded. How? Not by getting tougher, but by getting smarter. Together we built shelters from mammoth bones, we made needles from animal bones to sew fur clothes. We painted on cave walls not for art, but for memory. Because in a world with no writing, no books, no Google, your mind had to store everything. And the best way to remember? Stories so elders pass down knowledge through myths, where to find food, how to avoid predators, which plants would kill you. These weren't fairy tales. They were survival manuals. And the brain rewarded storytelling with dopamine making us crave it. That's why you can't stop watching YouTube videos. Why you binge Netflix. Why you listen to podcasts. You're not just being entertained. You're obeying a 40,000-year-old rule. Stay informed or die. Even more terrifying, the Ice Age never really ended. Your brain still thinks it's coming. That's why you stockpile food during a crisis. Why you panic when the lights go out. Why you feel safer with blankets, heat, and walls. Your brain isn't being dramatic. It's preparing for the cold that always came back. And if you think modern life has made us safe, ask, why 80% of people report chronic stress despite having food, shelter, and safety? Because the brain doesn't care about logic. It cares about pattern recognition, and the pattern it knows. Winter, famine, death, repeat. So when you feel anxious for no reason, it's not broken, it's protecting you. The ritual that saved us. All you ever wonder? Why humans ritualize everything? Birth, death, food, sex, war, all wrapped in ceremony. Why? Because ritual isn't superstition, it's social glue. Back when we lived in small tribes, survival depended on trust, and trust is fragile. So we developed rituals to force cooperation. Think about it. When you share a meal, you're not just eating, you're saying, I won't poison you, you won't kill me. When you dance together, you're syncing your bodies, and your brain's oxytocin floods in. Trust builds. When you mourn the dead, together you're saying, we're still a group. We survive. Rituals are survival technology, and the most powerful ritual of all. Language, not just words, but storytelling, promises, gossip, warnings. Because with language, we could do something no other species could. Coordinate across time and space. I saw a herd of deer near the river. My father died last winter. We must move before the snow comes. That's not small talk. That's civilization in the making. And here's the twist. We didn't evolve language to talk. We evolved it to survive. A 2023 study from the Max Planck Institute found that tribes with complex languages survive longer during climate crises. Why? Because they could plan, warn, and adapt. So when you feel the urge to text someone just checking in, you're not being needy, you're performing a 100,000-year-old ritual. Are you still alive? Am I still part of the tribe? And if you don't, does your brain fear you'll be forgotten? The weakness that became our weapon? We were never the strongest, but we were the most adaptable. And that's the final secret of our survival. We turned weakness into innovation, no claws. We made spears, no fur. We sewed clothes, poor night vision. We mastered fire. We didn't evolve to survive. We invented our way to survival and the tool that made it possible. Imagination. Because to survive the unknown, you have to imagine the future. What? If it snows? What if the river dries up? What if the animals leave? Other animals react. Humans anticipate. And that ability to simulate the future in our minds is what saved us. But it came with a cost. Anxiety. Because imagination doesn't just show you solutions. It shows you every way you could die. And your brain. It treats every imagined threat like a real one. That's why you can't sleep. When you think about the future, why your heart races before presentation, why you still jump at a loud noise, your brain isn't broken. It's doing its job. Protect you from what might come. And in the Ice Age, that hypervigilance saved lives. Now, it just makes us check our phones at 2 a.m. But here's the miracle. We didn't just survive by avoiding death. We survived by creating, meaning we painted in caves. We buried our dead with flowers. We looked at the stars and told stories. Because a species that only feared death would have collapsed under the weight of it. But a species that could hope, that could believe in something beyond survival, that species could endure. The survival story isn't over. You are not just a modern human. You are a living archive of 300,000 years of survival. Every time you lock your door, check on a friend, or light a candle in the dark, you're not being irrational. You're continuing the greatest survival story in human history. We didn't survive because we were strong. We survived because we were connected, creative, and stubbornly hopeful. And the story isn't over. Climate change, pandemics, war, new threats emerge, but so does the same ancient code. Adapt, cooperate, survive. So the next time you feel fear, don't shame it. Thank it. Because it's not weakness. It's the echo of a million ancestors who refused to die, and you're their victory.